No one laughed in the presence of Queen Valdris the Undying. They screamed. They begged. They died. Her empire stretched across 14 star systems, each conquered not by diplomacy or mercy, but by fear so deep it rewired civilizations. Planets surrendered at the rumor of her fleets. Entire species rewrote their religions to paint her as a god of extinction, hoping worship might soften her gaze. It never did. Queen Valdris ruled from the obsidian throne, a structure grown rather than built, a living monument forged from crystallized dark matter and the compressed remains of extinct stars. Her palace orbited no sun. It did not need one. The queen preferred darkness. She was tall, impossibly so, her form both elegant and terrifying. Her skin shimmered like black glass veined with faint violet light. Her luminous eyes gazed from a face too symmetrical to be comforting. When she spoke, reality itself seemed to hold its breath. And yet, on the day humanity officially met her, one human left. My name is Elias Crow. I was not a soldier, a diplomat, or a hero. I was a maintenance engineer. That's what made it funny, I guess. Cosmic joke and all that. When the Queen's fleet appeared above Earth, blotting out the sky like a wound in space, panic followed immediately. Militaries mobilized. Governments collapsed in real time. Religious leaders claimed prophecy. Scientists cried quietly into their hands. I was fixing a pressure valve on a half-decommissioned orbital station when the emergency summons came. All remaining personnel report to the central hangar. I almost ignored it. Almost. Instead, I floated down the corridor, boots magnetizing with dull thuds, and joined a group of terrified officials and scientists herded like livestock by alien drones. None of us were told why we were chosen. None of us asked. We already knew. Valdris did not negotiate with species. She evaluated them. The hangar doors opened into a cavern of black and violet light. Her flagship loomed beyond the force barrier, impossibly large, like a night sky folded into shape. Then she appeared. No announcement. No fanfare. Reality bent, and Queen Valdris stepped forward. Every human dropped to their knees. Every human except me. Not because I was brave. Because my knees locked. She looked at us the way a predator looks at a cage of mice. Disinterest tinged with mild curiosity. Humanity, she said, her voice vibrating inside my bones, has been measured. Your weapons are trivial. Your unity is a myth. Your fear is acceptable. She began to pace. You will be absorbed. Your world will serve my empire as a resource node. Your species will be reduced to a labor caste. Resist, and extinction will be swift. Silence followed. A heavy, suffocating silence. That's when it happened. A laugh burst out of me. Sharp, uncontrolled, loud. I clapped a hand over my mouth too late. The hangar froze. Every human turned to stare at me like I'd just detonated a bomb. The Queen stopped moving. All 4 of her eyes focused on me. You find this amusing, she said. I swallowed. Hard. Sorry. Another laugh bubbled up, hysterical this time. You've got the worst villain monologue I've ever heard. The drones shifted, weapons humming. The Queen tilted her head. Explain, she commanded. I shrugged helplessly. I mean, enslave us, wipe us out. Fear and darkness. Yeah, heard it before. You traveled across the galaxy just to tell us we suck? That's commitment. Someone whispered my name like a prayer for my soul. The Queen studied me for a long, dangerous moment. Then she smiled. And that was worse than anger. 2. I didn't die. That alone made history. Instead, Queen Valdris ordered that I be taken aboard her flagship alone. The others were dismissed, shaking and pale, convinced they'd just watched a dead man walk. They were half right. Her throne chamber was vast, filled with slow-orbiting shards of starlight and gravity wells that hummed softly. I was escorted to the center and released, unarmed, unrestrained. She descended onto her throne with fluid grace. "Humans fear death," she said. "They fear pain. They fear loss. Yet you laughed." I scratched the back of my neck.
Yeah, well.
When you're staring at the end of the world, sometimes laughing is all you've got. "Defiance," she said. "Or insanity." "Bit of both," I admitted. She leaned forward. "Do you know how many kings have begged before me? How many empires shattered when I spoke their names?" "Sure," I said. "But none of them were human." Her eyes narrowed. "Explain again." I took a breath. "You're terrifying." No argument there. "But humans? We're weird. We laugh at funerals. We joke in disasters. We tell stories about monsters and then mock them so they don't own us." A pause. "For us," I continued, voice steadier now, "fear doesn't disappear when you crush people. Sometimes it mutates, turns into jokes,
Sarcasm.
stories where the monster loses." Silence filled the chamber. Then, incredibly, the Queen laughed. It was soft, curious, almost uncertain. "A fascinating adaptation," she said. "You diminish terror by reshaping it." "Exactly." She rose from her throne. "You interest me, human, more than your species ever has." That should have frightened me. Instead, I felt something shift, something dangerous. 3 days passed, or cycles. Time aboard her ship flowed strangely. I was not imprisoned. I was observed. Queen Valdris summoned me often. She asked about humanity, our wars, our art, our humor. I told her about comedians who joked about nuclear annihilation, about children laughing during blackouts, about humans who smiled even while dying. "You find meaning in absurdity," she concluded. "Pretty much." She showed me her empire. Planets stripped bare. Cities arranged like obedient patterns. Entire species reduced to silence. "This is order," she said. I shook my head.
No.
"This is quiet." Her gaze lingered on me. "Quiet is peace." "Not to us," I said softly. "Peace has noise. Music. Arguing. Laughing at things that shouldn't be funny." She studied my face, searching for deception. "Why does this matter to you?" she asked. I didn't answer right away. "Because," I said finally, "if you conquer us, you won't own us. You'll just give us new material to laugh about." Her expression hardened. "Then perhaps I should erase you." "Maybe," I said. "But then you'll always wonder." "Wonder what?" "What we would have laughed at next."
4.
Something changed after that. The Queen grew quieter, less certain. She watched humans through her sensors, saw resistance not as armies, but as stories spreading. Jokes painted on ruined walls. Songs sung in hiding. Children laughing at caricatures of her fearsome image. Her empire began to fracture, not through rebellion, but through ridicule. Fear lost its edge. One night, she summoned me again. "I have ruled for millennia," she said. "I have never been laughed at." I smiled gently. "First time's always rough." She looked at me, really looked at me. "What are you to me, human?" I thought carefully. "A mirror," I said. "You want it to be eternal fear. But fear only lives as long as people believe in it." "And if I kill you?" I shrugged. "Then someone else laughs." The Queen turned away. "For the first time," she said quietly, "my empire feels fragile." "That's not weakness," I said. "That's change." She faced me again. "I could destroy Earth," she said. "And the source." "You could," I agreed. And humans would still laugh about you in the dark before the end. Silence. Then, Queen Valdris lowered herself from the throne. I will not conquer your world, she said. My breath caught. Instead, she continued, I will leave it untouched. Humanity will remain unowned. I stared. You're just letting us go? She nodded. You showed me something no empire ever did, she said. That fear can die without blood. She stepped closer. And that laughter is a power I never understood. The fleet vanished. Earth survived. History recorded the event as the Great Withdrawal. Scholars debated it for generations. Some called it mercy. Others called it strategy. But I knew the truth. The cruelest queen in the galaxy met a human who laughed. And for the first time in her eternal reign, she felt small. Before I returned to Earth, she left me with one final message. Tell your people, she said, that I will watch from afar. And if you come back? I asked. Her lips curved into something like a smile. Then I expect another joke. I laughed. And this time she laughed with me. Earth did not celebrate at first. When Queen Valdris's fleet vanished from the sky, there were no fireworks, no immediate cheers. Humanity had lived under the shadow of annihilation for too long. People waited for the second wave. The trick, the punishment. It never came. Days passed. Then weeks. The stars remained silent. Only then did the world begin to breathe again. I returned to Earth quietly, escorted home by a single alien vessel that vanished the moment my feet touched the ground. No cameras captured it. No governments announced it. Officially, I was declared dead, lost during first contact. Unofficially, humanity decided I was safer as a rumor. That was fine by me. Life resumed in strange, fragile ways. Cities repaired themselves. Children went back to school beneath skies that no longer felt borrowed. Artists painted Queen Valdris as a monster, then crossed it out and painted her laughing. Comedians told jokes about the day fear blinked first. And across the galaxy, things began to unravel. Queen Valdris's empire did not collapse in fire or rebellion. It fractured more subtly. Worlds once ruled by terror began to question it. Stories spread, not of her cruelty, but of her hesitation, of the human who laughed, of the queen who listened. Fear lost its absoluteness. Some systems declared independence. Others simply stopped obeying. Valdris could have crushed them all, but she didn't. She watched. From her throne of dark matter, the cruelest queen in the galaxy stared into the void and replayed one impossible moment over and over again. A human, standing unarmed before her, laughing, not mocking, not challenging, laughing because the universe was absurd, and fear no longer owned him. For the first time in her endless reign, Valdris understood something terrifying. Power that relies on fear is fragile. Power that survives laughter must change. So she changed. Her fleets withdrew from contested worlds. Her empire shrank, not in defeat, but in transformation. She ruled fewer systems, but ruled them differently, with distance, with restraint, and always with curiosity. As for me, I went back to fixing broken things. Air recyclers, power grids, small, ordinary systems that kept people alive. Sometimes kids would ask if the stories were true. If I really laughed at the queen, I always shrugged. Someone had to. Years later, long enough that my hair went gray, I stood alone on a hill outside a quiet city, watching the stars. That was when the sky bent. Not violently, not threateningly, just enough. A familiar presence pressed against reality. Her voice reached me, not aloud, but inside my mind.
Human.
I smiled. Nice of you to visit, I said to the empty air. Your species continues to laugh, she said. Even now. Especially now, I replied. A pause. I have learned, she said. Fear fades. Stories endure. I nodded. Told you. Another pause, longer this time. Do they still tell the story of me? They do, I said honestly. But not the way you expect.
How then?
I looked up at the stars. As the queen who conquered everything except one human's laugh. Silence. Then, laughter.
Soft.
Alien.
Real.
Perhaps Queen Valdris said, that is how I wish to be remembered. The pressure lifted. The stars settled. She was gone. I stood there a long time, smiling to myself. Because somewhere in the endless dark, the cruelest queen in the galaxy was no longer alone with her fear. And humanity would always laugh back.